When we say icebreaker, you probably think of a nice way to initiate conversation, like, "What do you do for a living?" Or, "What's that weird mole on your face?" Actually, we're talking about special-purpose ships designed to navigate through ice-covered waters, ensuring there are safe waterways for other boats and ships. For a vessel to be considered an icebreaker, it has to have three things. It needs a lot of power to push through the sea ice, it needs an ice-clearing shape, and it needs a strengthened hull. The Arktika is a Russian nuclear-powered icebreaker that, as of this moment, is still under construction at St. Petersburg Baltic Shipyard. Though not yet complete, when she is, she will be the lead ship of Project 22220 Icebreakers, which will make her the most powerful and largest icebreaker ever constructed. Designed to function for 40 years of reactor life, the Arktika will need refueling roughly every 7 years with less than 20% uranium-235 enriched fuel. With a height of 168 feet and a length of 569, the Arktika will be 20 times as tall as Andre the Giant and as long as St. Paul's Cathedral in London is high. The plan is for sea trials to be conducted in the Gulf of Finland, and should the Arktika pass, she'll be good to go. Testing will be a rigorous process with everything from desk installations, communication and navigation equipment, and the propulsion system tested within an inch of their life to ensure they are 10,000% up to scratch. Here's hoping things work out, because Russia's icebreaker fleet is looking old enough to retire, and renewal will be integral in Russia achieving its goal to further expand worldwide shipping activity along the Northern Sea Route. A notable size is a common thread among icebreakers. The No CGV Svalbard, for example, is a Norwegian offshore patrol vessel and Coast Guard icebreaker. Constructed by Langston AS at the Tangen Werft shipyard in early 2001, the No CGV Svalbard cost $80 million to construct and is still in service today. The vessel, capable of operating in ice with a thickness upward of 3 feet, mainly operates in the Arctic waters just north of Norway, the coastal waters of Svalbard and the Barents Sea. Based at Scotland, the Svalbard has more strings to its bow than a triple-sized violin. It has been known to take part in maritime patrols as well as search and rescue operations, and on occasion, it has even offered support to research activities in the Arctic. The Svalbard has a strengthened hull, enabling it to tear through ice easier than Hulk can rip up a wet tissue. And it has significantly better open water maneuverability than the average icebreaker. The ship is equipped with a real-time ice load monitoring system that employs fiber optic sensors that can measure shear stress on the hull. The processed data is then displayed on the bridge for all the crew to see. How very Star Trek! This real-time ice load information is integral in eliminating the risk of hull damage and provides data on acceptable loads. The ship also integrates a hydraulically operated 12-foot crane as well as 2 water spray systems in order to assist with firefighting missions. It is the first ever Norwegian naval vessel to be honored with DNV class notation Icebreaker Polar 10 and is what's known as a double-acting ship, meaning it is designed to operate in both open water and thin ice. With a displacement of 6,375 tons, it is the biggest naval vessel in the Norwegian Armed Forces fleet, and it is able to complement more than 48 crew members. By which we mean have room for them, not say nice things about them. This ship is also ready for serious action. The bow deck is equipped with a Bofors 57mm dual-purpose naval gun. The gun is able to fire at a rate of 220 rounds per minute, making it the perfect ship to use on a revenge mission against the iceberg that sunk the Titanic. The gun's main purpose is to protect the ship from anti-ship missiles that skim the sea. Svalbard also has a stern flight in order to support the operation of its helicopter. The onboard helideck is all set up to accommodate an NH-90 helicopter, complete with a hangar facility. But it's not just Russia and Norway getting in on the action. America has their very own icebreakers. One of the USA's own contributions to the world of icebreaking is the USCGC Polar Star. Commissioned by the United States Coast Guard way back in 1976, this heavy icebreaker was built by Lockheed Shipbuilding and Construction Company of Seattle, alongside her sister ship of USCGC Polar Sea. But while the latter was sadly decommissioned in 2010, the Polar Star is proudly still with us. The Polar Star utilizes 4 separate methods of electronic navigation to ensure it can overcome the difficulties of operations conducted at high latitudes. It also has a computerized propulsion system to help it manage its 6 diesel-powered propulsion generators, 3 propulsion gas turbines, and 3 diesel-powered service generators. To be honest, it's kind of a show-off. This is a higher-than-average reliance of automation, meaning the Polar Star has significantly reduced its staffing requirements. AKA, the robot revolution is truly upon us. Having said that, the Polar Sea still has a human team of 15 officers and 126 enlisted, and it looks after them well. On board there is a gymnasium, a library, and several sizable lounges. It even has an onboard post office and computer lounge. This beastie icebreaker has had a variety of missions in its life. During deployments in the Antarctic, its primary missions included breaking a channel through the sea ice in order to resupply the McMurdo Research Station with all its needs. The Polar Star also functions as a scientific research platform with 5 laboratories on board dedicated to studying a range of topics including, but not limited to, sea ice physics, oceanography, geology, and volcanology. The ship is far from the only American icebreaker in business, as 2006 saw the United States Coast Guard commission the U.S. CGC Mackinac, a heavy icebreaker dedicated to operations on the North American Great Lakes. Mackinac is unique in that it uses 2 azipod units. These are a brand of electrical azimuth thrusters as her main propulsion. The combination of these thrusters with a 550 horsepower bow thruster makes Mackinac significantly more maneuverable than the average icebreaker. Another key element of uniqueness the azipod units offer is that they remove the need for a traditional rudder, with the thrusters being capable of turning 360 degrees around their vertical axis in order to direct their thrust in literally any direction. Simply put, it all adds up to the Mackinac being a rather futuristic-feeling ship, and that feeling is cemented by its lack of steering wheel. Instead, it has a snazzy-looking control console that would not be out of place on the Millennium Falcon. All this may make the ship sound kind of perfect, but it actually got off to a shaky start before its commission. While en route to Sheboygan, where her new home port was, the Mackinac struck a seawall in Grand Haven, Michigan. This terrifying accident left a 10-foot dent in the bow of the starboard side. Fortunately, everyone was okay, though Captain Donald Triner was temporarily relieved of duty while an investigation into the accident went underway. Sadly for Triner, the investigation ultimately found his incompetence to be blamed, and he was permanently relieved of duty. Despite this turbulent history, the Mackinac now proudly leads the Great Lakes U.S. Coast Guard. Powered by 3 Caterpillar 3612 turbocharged V12 engines, it has a length of 240 feet, a draft of 16 feet, and a beam of 58. But all the icebreakers we've discussed thus far pale in comparison to the big dog. The RV Polarstern is a German contribution to the field of icebreakers, a research vessel for the Alfred Wegener Institute for Polar and Marine Research in Bremerhaven. Originally commissioned in 1982, its primary purpose since has been in both Arctic and Antarctic research. She has served us long, though that may be coming to an end. In the year 2020, the very year we are making this video, she is planned to be replaced by the as of yet unready and unimaginatively named Polarstern 2. So let's celebrate her now while we have the chance. Built by Havelswerk Deutsche Werft in Kiel and Nobiskrug in Rendsburg, Polarstern has a length of 387 feet and is equipped with an impressive double-hold icebreaker. Impressively, the Polarstern is still operational in temperatures as low as -50 degrees centigrade and can easily break through ice up to 5 feet thick, as if it's no big deal. It can even smash its way through ice as thick as 9.8 feet if it really rams hard. Polarstern's construction was ordered in 1980, and 2 years later, it was finally ready to go. In 1991, it embarked on a rather infamous adventure when assisted by the Swedish icebreaker Odin. It became the first conventional-powered vessel to reach the North Pole. Upon arrival, both the crew and the science team didn't just take geological and oceanographic samples like they were supposed to, they also had something of a party, even playing tug-of-war and football while there. These days, the ship is considered an icon of German polar research, and the Alfred Wegener Institute's most important resource. The ship has logged, as of 2014, more than 1.5 million nautical miles, operating for 310 days a year. In a typical year, she cruises in the Antarctic from November to March, before heading to the Arctic for the summer months. That's a yearly round trip of 50,000 nautical miles, which is equivalent to 2 whole trips around the equator. Almost enough time to watch The Lord of the Rings. She's a juggernaut of a ship, with a walled steel hull and 20,000 horsepower. On board, she has 2 helicopters, a range of inflatable boats, and several laboratories, among much more. Simply put, the Alfred Wegener Institute would fail to function without the Polar Stern. The ship is instrumental in making the new Mayer Station 3, a year-round Antarctic base owned by the Institute, remains constantly supplied with everything from the most cutting-edge IT equipment to basic food for the live-in staff. It's crazy to think that an icebreaker that was commissioned so many decades ago is still with us. And that's all down to the complete overhaul it underwent from 1999 to 2001. The ship was refitted from top to bottom with all the latest technologies to ensure she had another few decades in her. Would you ever leave home for months on end to work aboard an icebreaker? Let us know in the comments section below. And if you liked the video, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you'll be the first to know when a new video arrives. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.